everyone, just quickly checking in with a quick message. Sorry if you can hear my air fryer in the background. So in this video, I filmed it and I didn't realize that in the little square cam in the corner, the video on that is lagging quite a bit at times. So I just wanted to quickly let you know, it's not you, it's my fault, it's on my end. Your computer is not broken, whatever you're watching this video on is not broken. That is on me. Alright, enjoy the video. Previously on Olliverse Dolls. I don't know what Descendants is doing with the next movie and the dolls that they're doing for that. I have no idea if they're doing dolls, if Hasbro will be involved, or if maybe they're gonna get Mattel involved instead. It's happening! I am Ari Lynette and welcome to the Olliverse. Around a year ago, I posted a video ranking all of the Descendants Evie dolls, and that video got quite a lot of love, and I got a couple of people asking about some more Descendants rankings. And because the new movie is going to be coming out soon, The Rise of Red, the dolls are coming out for that film as well, and those dolls are made by Mattel. Which, considering they made Ever After High, you know I love the irony of that. In fact, I even have Uliana here. She is amazing. I love her. But this video is not about these Mattel Descendants dolls. This video is about those original Hasbro Descendants dolls, and the next obvious choice for a ranking video of these dolls would be the Mal dolls, since Mal got the most dolls out of any character in the Descendants series, considering that she's the main character. So today we will be ranking all of her dolls. While I'm not as passionate about the Mal dolls as I am about the Evie dolls, because obviously Evie's my favourite character in the series, I still have plenty of opinions about these dolls. I am quite excited to rank these dolls. I technically have ranked these dolls before because I filmed another cut of this video a while back and the audio turned out terribly, so this is the second time I'm filming this Mal ranking. So I'm hoping it goes well, because I'd rather not have to do it a third time. That might just break me. I'm not a very resilient creator.
I can't do it anymore.
Let's start with the tiers. Most of these tiers are the same as the ones from the Evie video. So we have the top tier.
Oh please, she has a family, she's a mother!
This tier is for the best of the best, my favourite Mal dolls. Then we have Gorgeous Girlies for the Gorgeous Girlies. We have We Can Let Her Into the Party for the dolls that, they're nice, we can let them in. And we still have Deserved Better as well, and that's for the dolls that deserved better execution, or have some kind of flaw that sets them back considerably, but is still a promising doll. However, we have a new tier in the mix. So I don't think that there are any Mal dolls that are bad enough that I think that they shouldn't exist, but there is one that I think has enough of a creative book-wild decision in there to warrant their own tier. And this tier is named I Respect the Audacity, but WTF. And it will all make sense when I get to that particular doll, but for now just know it's there in the corner. It is the surprise tool that we will be using later. I do have my trusty iPad. I will be looking at reference photos for a good amount of these dolls. So let's start at the very beginning. This list is going to be in chronological order. These Descendants rankings are the one sets of rankings that I do them in chronological order. So we will be starting at the beginning with the original Descendants 1 signature Mal. This doll has honestly grown on me quite a bit. I don't think she's an elite doll, but I think she qualifies as a gorgeous girly. I do think that original Mal screening is very cute. It looks very mischievous. Her shoes are amazing. I love the shoe sculpt so much. And I really like her leggings. But I think that the jacket, while it looks constructed pretty decently, I don't love the material of it. It looks a little bit mildewy, if that makes any sense. But I also don't think that the promo pictures really show the best angles of the doll. I feel like some of the in-person shots show a little bit more of the saturation on the doll. She's got a little green patch on her arm. I think even that tiny little touch adds a little bit more dimension to the doll's outfit. The form of the jacket is pretty nice. The collar piece works really well. Even though it is a separate plastic piece, it does still complement the look nicely. And since we are talking about a Descendants 1 main character and their dolls, naturally I will have to talk about the weird hair thing they did. Just like they did with Evie and her giant widow's peak and twin braids, they decided to give a lot of the Mal dolls in this early wave of Descendants dolls the same hairstyle. So she has long bits on the side that kind of come down. The back is full bob, so it's like a lopsided kind of thing. It's like the hairstyle equivalent of one of those headrest things you get on like airplanes. It's a really weird hairstyle. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't really look very good. And I don't think it helps that this hairstyle would not set very well with the poly, because these dolls do have poly hair. I also don't love the hair blend. I like that there is a hair blend, but I don't think that it looks very much like the one in the film. It looks a bit too dark. I'm kind of missing that vibrancy that you get with Mal's hair in that first film. But overall, the signature Descendants 1 Mal is a great start to the Mal dolls. Coronation Mal is also going to be a gorgeous girly, but I will put her a little bit higher. I have expressed before on this channel that I don't really think the coronation designs are that good. Like, they're not my favourites. I think that they are a little bit stuffy and awkward. But I think if anyone kind of won with this, I think Mal did. Like, her dress is like this because she's trying to fit the mold of, like, the royal princess. Like, you can tell she's kind of compromising a little bit of her integrity, but not enough not to serve, because this is a really nice outfit, and I really like this doll. She has a nice bun. I love the big collar piece. The construction is really nice. I like the layers of the mesh. It all looks lined pretty well. You have a nice ribbon belt, some lace. It looks really cute. She has a moderately sized crown. I mentioned in the Evie video, Hasbro with these Descendants dolls, sometimes they just give them these giant plastic crowns, but I think that this time they did good with Mal. Giving her like a little dainty crown. That's what we're looking for. But yeah, I think she is really nice. Not my favourite from a design perspective. I still think it is a little bit stuffy in terms of what I want to see in terms of like a formal wear doll. For like a youthful character, I do like to see a little bit more fun when it comes to a formal wear outfit. And I also think that this hair blend, still, it's not working that much for me. But again, that's more representative of the whole wave than this particular doll. Right, the 2-pack Mal this one's an interesting one. I'm not really sure if I should put her in Deserved Better or whether I should let her go in the party or not. On one hand, I think she is really pretty and I like the construction on her outfit. Do you know what? I will let her into the party. I think that that's a fair assessment for her. I will say I do think that having her just be a stripped back version of the coronation outfit is a bit of a letdown, especially when you compare it to the 2-pack Evie. As much as I have my things about that outfit, like, that's at least a new outfit. But I like the lace doily trim. I think it looks really cute. Again, it's nice construction, but it's definitely a lot less construction compared to the main coronation gown. And she does have the signature choppy, messy hair that I have my gripes with. I'm going to keep her in here for now. I might change my mind later. That's going to be very much a flexible kind of thing. Right, this next one, I don't need a reference for this one. This is the Disney Store exclusive Mal, and this one is one of my favourite Mals. I love her to bits. She is top tier for me. Even with that hair, it's still very baffling. But I think that this outfit makes up for it. You have very clear colour blocking in a way that isn't too flat. She's got some cool jeans, but I think the best thing about her is the top. The layering of it, where you feel like you've got those sleeves, and then you've got the mesh of the jacket, and you've got the undertop underneath. I'm pretty sure it is like all one piece, but it still looks really great. Things like the ribbon trim and having that little exposed bit of the orchid tea out at the bottom, it just adds the extra layering, the extra depth, but it still doesn't feel heavy. It feels like this nice casual outfit, and I think it just works excellently for Mal. And I even kind of think the hair works better with this colour combo. I just think it works nicer. Sometimes my answer will just be kind of shrugging a bit and being like, I don't know what to tell you, I like it. But that's definitely the case with this one. Next is the 4-pack Mal. I am going to put this one in We Can Let Her Into the Party. She's going in front because she is a bit more basic, and I think that does let her down a little bit. She also has this random tulle layer on the bottom of her top, and I don't really get it. But her top has a nice print, and I really like her jeans. I should probably mention this doll and the Disney Store exclusive doll and the signature doll all have the same shoes, but I really, really love that shoe mold, so I can excuse it. I love that pastel lilac that she wears on her top. I think it is great because of the kind of stage of the movie she's in. It kind of represents that she's kind of coming a little more soft. I think that's nice, but ultimately she is definitely a little bit more basic and doesn't really come to the same heights as some of the dolls that are going to be coming up on this list. Right, budget Mal. I'm still going to put her in Deserved Better, but I would like to go to bat for this doll for a minute, because for a budget doll, she is actually pretty good. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to put her in Deserved Better. I'm letting her in the party. And what are you gonna do? I just really like this doll. I like the print on her dress, and I think the construction of it is pretty nice too. The collar accessory feels like it frames the dress nicely. It doesn't feel like it dominates it. It almost looks like it's kind of sewn to the dress, which is a pretty good achievement for a plastic collar thing, for it to look like it's part of the dress itself. This is like way above the Evie doll that they did, where her dress just felt like a mess and she just had a random plastic piece shoved on top. The Mal doll, that's a much better example of how you do a budget doll. So now we're going to be moving into some of the Wicked World dolls, so we're going to start off with Genie Chic. I kind of think this one's a mother. I really, really like this doll. Like, I've always, liked this doll, but over the past few months, it was actually after I filmed the first take of this video, I put her in, the tier down, but over the time, something's been going on. I look at this doll and I'm just like, I love her now. They give her a full new hairstyle. They don't even just do a part job. With Evie, they just put some of the hair back and it's like, oh, it's a new hairstyle. No, they gave Mal a ponytail, a full head of ponytail, and then she has a nice side part, and it all looks very nice. But I think the real highlight of this doll is this outfit. I kind of love it. I love the top and the way that the little details really add to it. You have the subtle kind of snake print on the top, but then you have those cranberry editions with the trim, and it's got the gold on it, and it feels kind of reptilian enough to evoke the dragon side of Mal, but still feel fashionable. I even like the skirt. I like that tulle, how it flares out, and it's got that kind of choppiness to it, but it's not too choppy. It's layered over the purple leggings, and it's got these gold scratches with the glitter detailing. I don't know, something about this doll is really, really hitting right now. I really like this doll. I love her earrings as well. Those are really cute earrings. Okay, Neon Frights Mal. Neon Frights.
Neon Fright.
I'm fighting for my life.
This one's not as good as Genie Chic, but I'm still going to put her in Gorgeous Girly. And the reason why I'm kind of a little bit less enthusiastic about this doll is because she does feel like she's kind of going over the same things, the same developments in particular, that the Genie Chic doll did. You have that same high ponytail with the side part going down. You've got the same arm cuff accessories. You've even got that same flare on the shoulders to kind of evoke the dragon look. She's even wearing purpley blue leggings. She's taking the same template and applying it to this doll. That being said, this doll is still really nice and I still really like her. The orange I think was a risky choice, but I think it mostly works. I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. I do like orange and purple as a colour combo, and I think that pairing it with kind of the blue elements of the dress, you kind of have those little blue spots within the purple dress, does help. And you have the little pops of neon green as well. It is a lot of different colours and it could have really been a bit of a disaster, but I think it does end up working out really well. Next is Jewel Billy Mal. Don't even start. Don't even start. She is an absolute mother. I adore this doll, and I adored her from day one. This is not you're not going to get it the first time you hear it. I got it the first time I heard this. There is so much about this doll that is just perfect to me. The dress and the construction with those dragon elements on it is just absolutely beautiful. That dark plum purple with the green, excellent choice. The jewellery works really well. I like the gem on the necklace. I like the little arm cuff. It's just the right kind of accessory that works with the look. The mask is excellent. Amazing sculpting. And I even think they styled the hair a bit differently. It looks a lot nicer than it usually does, even though I'm pretty sure it's in the same style as a lot of the other D1 Mal dolls. I really love this doll. And I honestly think Jewel Billy was a win for every character that was in it, which isn't saying much because they only made 3 of them, but all 3 of those characters had great dolls. But I do think Mal was the best in this line. Right, we are moving forward. We are moving on to Descendants 2. Let's start with the signature Mal. She is a gorgeous girly. I do think that there are things about this doll that could be improved, and those 2 things are her hair and her belt. So I'll start with the belt, that's pretty easily. The belt being black combined with all of the darker purples just kind of makes it blend into the whole outfit. The belt should have been gold. The belt on the giant Descendants 2 Mal doll, which I will get to later, the belt on that doll is gold and it looks a lot better, and I think it should have been gold on this doll. And then the other thing is the hair colour. They did fix the hair colour blend from the dolls from Descendants 1, and I think that does look good. However, they changed Mal's hair colour in the films itself. It's a lot brighter of almost like a bright orchid colour. And they just completely did not realise that, I think, with this doll. And they were just like, oh, this hair colour's fine. It's nice. It works. It's better than the last one, which it is. But it's not movie accurate, and it also adds to that problem of having dark tones and it all kind of blending together, so it does kind of adds to the existing problem there. But I still think she looks great. Love the leggings, love the shoes. I like the construction of her jacket with the undertop underneath. I think that that works really nicely. Dare I say the bangs even nibbled a bit. This is the doll where she did hard launch the bangs, and I can respect the choice. So our next Descendants 2 doll is the Cotillion. I'm just gonna say it, best doll that I've looked at so far in this whole video. I only feel like I realised it this year. She's kind of one of the best Descendants dolls they've ever made. This specific version of Mel is just excellent. The dress of the movie is gorgeous, and I think that they executed it very well in doll form. It does kind of look like a lot of layers printed onto one fabric, but I feel like the shading is good enough that it kind of skirts past this. The bodice is a beautiful design. I love the collar piece. Again, a nice little tiara and not a giant plastic crown. Something simple, and it works so nicely on her hair. And speaking of the hair, this is the doll where they decided to get the colour right. This matches that brighter kind of orchid hair that she has in the film. And it looks amazing. It looks really, really great. So I don't see why they didn't use it more. Yeah, so for me, this is like the best out of the regular sized Mel dolls. She's just stunning. We do also have her stripped back Cotillion outfit, which not as good as the main one, still really nice. You could get this doll in a 2-pack with the Cotillion Ben or the stripped back version of Cotillion Evie. And the main differences here is that she doesn't have her molded on gloves, she doesn't have her crown, and she doesn't have that big purple underlayer of the skirt. It's just the choppier printed top layer with some tulle underneath. And it's really nice. Not my favourite, still really nice. I'm also going to put the other 2-pack Mal in here. I think they did a really good job on this doll. She is, by virtue of the purpose of that outfit, it is a little bit weird because these colours are very different for her. This hairstyle is different for her. She's never had like a side braid, which I think works really nicely. I think this hair on her looks good. And you can see those elements that correspond with what you see in that later Cotillion outfit, with the bodice and some of the printing on there. Like, you can see the bones of that look in this one, and I think that's a really cool little hidden feature. It's not completely obvious. You can also tell by the same collar piece on there that it kind of has some similarities to that look. The shoes on here are fine. They're just kind of flat. I feel like I would have liked some kind of paint on them to really boost them up a little bit. So this is the singing Mal doll, and I'm just kind of like, I think she deserved better. I get why this doll exists. I like the idea of having the singing Mal doll, but it feels like they kind of did things that made this doll worse. And it's not even really to do with the doll itself. Like, I think the face looks cool with like the window for the glowing eyes. Like, that's a cool mechanism. I can respect a fun gimmick, but I think the hair doesn't work as well as I want it to, and I think the outfit has some issues. So the hair is a lot fuller than the signature Mal doll, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be kind of a nod to the Ways to Be Wicked scene, where Mal just has like 5 bags of hair on her head. So yeah, it makes sense for it to be voluminous and have a lot more of it instead of having the weird choppy thing that they did for the first film. But again, it's not that colour. This is way too dark compared to her hair in that scene, which is like, it's not quite as bright as the Orchid Descendants 2 hair, but it's brighter than this. Again, it's where they kind of make her hair a bit too dark. And then my other big pet peeve with this doll is the outfit. They did change her pants. Instead of the leggings, she has the jeans from, I believe it's from the 4-pack doll. I'm fine with that. Those are nice jeans. Same shoes, love those shoes, no complaints. But then we get to the top. We get the random tulle layer making its magical comeback. I didn't ask for that. The construction of the top is a lot poorer quality. There's a lot more printed elements on there. It kind of just stops awkwardly at the waist and filters into that tulle layer. I get why the outfit is a bit different from that signature doll, because in the Ways to Be Wicked scene, the core 4 are wearing versions of their signature outfits, but they're a bit different. They're a bit twisted, and a bit different things about the outfits have changed. Like, on Evie's, her top is different, and Mal is wearing 50 bags of hair extensions. I love that, because it's like a dream sequence, and in dreams, sometimes when you dream stuff, it looks different to how it does in real life. It looks contorted and twisted, and I like that a lot. So I would have been fine with that, but the changes on this outfit don't really look very good. And if those changes looked good, I probably wouldn't care that much about the gimmick. I'd be like, yeah, it exists. Cool. Good for that doll. But I just see these changes and I'm not happy. From one gimmick doll to another. I'll style switch Mel. This one can come into the party because I think that both of her looks are executed decently enough. But the reason why she gets so much credit here is because she uses one of my favorite gimmicks ever. And that is the rotating scalp gimmick. I cannot get enough of it. I think it is so cool. The most famous example of this would be the Jam and Glam Barbie. My sister had a Jam and Glam Barbie when we were younger, and I very vividly remember the scalp swaps around, like you spin it around and it flips the whole hairstyle. I cannot get enough of it. I'm so glad that they used that gimmick because it is one of the best doll gimmicks ever. So I think it is cool that they executed it very well with this doll. I will say, a doll with a hair gimmick like this is always going to suffer with poly hair because it's always going to make everything like 10 times harder. So Hasbro did kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit with that. But I can forgive it for the gimmick, because I think it is very fun. I like that we get some outfits of the blonde Mal, and this is one of those dolls where that is implemented. The blonde Mal is really the highlight of this set, because the style makeover Mal that we get is really just, one, using elements from the signature, and two, we get all of these elements in another doll. And I may as well address that doll right now, the budget Mel. She's going to deserve better because her outfit... This doll is a nice doll, a nice budget doll, but her outfit is basically the same thing as Isle Style Switch Mel. I'm pretty sure the only real difference is that on the Isle Style doll, it's like a sleeveless top. The budget doll is just like t-shirty, and that's really the only difference. And that annoys me because we could have had something new, something a little bit exciting. Kind of like how that Evie outfit that we got with the Descendants 2 budget. Yeah, it is kind of supposed to be a stripped back version of that Isle look, but it's distinctive enough to stand out as its own budget doll because it's got that white top. This doll doesn't have that same privilege, so she is going to go in deserved better. Right, Royal Fashions Mal. I'm going to put her... Screw it, I'm putting her at the top if she can come into the party. She might even get an upgrade, I don't know. I'm putting her there for now. I think that this is a really cool doll because it is an opportunity, again, to get some more of those blonde Mal outfits. And also have a doll with the hair just kind of permanently in blonde Mal mode. I think that that is a doll that people would have wanted to have. You know, the Isle Style Switch doll, it's nice, but it's always going to look a little bit off. And this one looks more natural. They've done like the pastel purple instead of the kind of the vivid purple they have on Isle Style Switch. And I like these outfits. The detailing on the white is very nice, on the colour, it's very pretty. And I love that kind of blue and white, almost Disney Channel cheerleader looking dress. Maybe not for the right reasons, but I think it's a fun outfit. It's got that kitsch factor. Of course that's going to appeal to me. Now we're going to go on to the first of the giant Mal dolls. And this is going to be a spoiler for the rest of the video. The giant Mal dolls, best Descendants dolls.
Ow! Come on, give it up for the big girl!
Especially the Descendants 2 Giant Mal, where they just decided to fix everything that was wrong with the signature. They have the right hair colour. The belt is gold now, so it makes the outfit kind of pop more. The little green elements on the jacket pop more. It doesn't feel like it's too overwhelmingly dark. It feels more accurate to the film. The screening is different. It feels a little bit less stylized, but it still works really well. I just think this is the best possible case scenario for the Descendants 2 Mal doll. It's a shame that the giant dolls are barely available in this country at all. I just think she's amazing. I think the only thing that is worse on this doll might be the shoes, because these are like a black shoe, and I prefer the kind of blocky purple and green shoe on the other Descendants 2 Mal dolls. For the amount of good changes that this doll made, I can forgive the shoes. Right, Under the Sea. I think this one deserved better. This one was produced for the Under the Sea Descendants short film / music video. I don't know why it exists, but we got dolls out of it, so... We did get a Mal and an Uma in this series. The Uma is the better doll in this line, spoiler. And then the Mal, I just think there are a lot of elements to this outfit that lets her down. I could see what they were doing with this outfit and the colour blocking. It doesn't really work. There are like 4 different fabrics in this outfit, and they're all very awkwardly patched together. So let me go down the different elements from what I can tell on here. Right, waistcoat, vest, top with the collar thing in black leather. I like that. And then there's the satiny purple top underneath, which is kind of fine. One of the long sleeves is that same satiny fabric. The other sleeve is a purple vinyl scale fabric. I don't know why it's like that. Wait a minute, I don't think it's vinyl. I think it's just shiny because it's a cheap fabric. But still, I don't know why that's a different fabric on that sleeve. It doesn't make any sense. It's just different enough to kind of catch your eye and kind of offset things a lot. And then you have the leggings underneath. One leg is black vinyl, I think it's the same thing as the vest. And then you have the other leg is this light lilac, almost like a iridescent satin. Does not match anything else on the outfit, it's just randomly there. And then on top of that, you also have the black same belt piece as the signature Mal, just plonked on top. Everything just feels too dark and monochrome. It doesn't feel like it's got that fun factor that you get with Mal. It feels almost too practical for its own good. The one thing I will compliment this doll for, she has those shoes, those blocky Descendants 2 shoes that I was talking about. She does have those. But the rest of this doll, I just think the execution is really off. This needed like 2 less fabrics, at least 50% more symmetry, and a couple of brighter pops of colour. I think that maybe adding a little bit of green on this outfit would have been nice. Or even just not having the split leg leggings. They should have just been one colour. I think there are changes that would have made this doll a lot better, because right now I'm looking at this doll and yikes. Right, on to Descendants 3. And this is where we get the brand new screenings, which I love. I love it for Mal, and I love it for Evie. Not every character got the best new screening. Mal and Evie got great screenings. Especially with Mal's, I think she does look more like Dove Cameron, and I think that that adds an extra charm to her. So let's start with the signature. She's awesome. She is a mother to me. I think that she is really cool. I think this hair blend is a little awkward with the blue and the purple, but this is the one doll that it works on, because you have those blue and purple elements directly tied to that outfit. This was kind of the era where Hasbro was just kind of printing every detail onto the fabrics and not really making separate pieces. But I think this Mal gets away with it in the same way that the signature Evie doll did, by having enough partitioning to make it feel like more of a whole outfit and not just printed bodysuit. So you have the vest jacket and the tee underneath, but then you have a little black piping on the waist, which adds a little bit of depth and layering. You have very similar kind of black piping on the knees as well, and that adds, again, a little bit of depth, a little bit of partitioning, making everything feel a little bit more whole and a little bit more substantial. The printing on the leggings is really nice. I love the blue and purple colour combination. I think it is gorgeous. And then the arm guards being separate was a good call, and they have enough paint on them to make them pop and not just feel like a giant plastic piece. And you can actually move her arms in them, which is useful. I do like being able to move the arms on these dolls. And that paint on the arm guards carries over to the shoes, and it just all adds together, makes a full cohesive look, and it feels like the best, most complete signature Mal. Yeah, I really love this doll. She's awesome. We do also have the other signature Mal, which is from the Good and Evil set, with that one pink Audrey in it. And this one is going to be going in Gorgeous Girly at the top, because I still think that, I think she shares enough elements with the original signature doll that work really well, and I think that even the stuff that she doesn't share, they still manage to make the doll look really good. I don't like the standard hair they gave this doll. I think it is very flat looking and it does kind of look cheap, but I love the colouring on the top. I think that that kind of berry tone works really well on her, and that carries over to the leggings, and that all works really nicely. She doesn't have the black piping on the knees or the waist, but she does have a green belt on the waist. And I actually didn't even notice that it was printed on until now. And usually with stuff like that, I can notice it a mile off, but I think they blended it pretty nicely. I do think she is a pretty awesome doll, though she does have some things holding her back, like her arm guards and her shoes are not painted, so you just have those flat pieces. But overall, she's still a really cool doll, and I do like that we get the before Mal, before she visits her dad, and then the after Mal, when she comes out and she transforms with all the blue elements coming onto her outfit, representing both of her parents. It's really cool. I love that moment in the film, and I love that we get a doll to represent both of those sides. Right, so the Dragon Queen Mal will be going in Deserved Better. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with the gimmick itself. If you've been on this channel for long enough, you know I'm not opposed to a little bit of fun. I'm not opposed having a little bit of a laugh now and again. And I think this gimmick is fun. The folding wings, it's almost primitive looking, and I find that very charming. But also I don't really love this dress very much. Even in the film, I think it looks very papery and awkward, so that was always going to be a strike against this doll, so I can't really blame that on the doll itself. Plastic bodice, fabric skirt, looks very kind of flat and printed. That flat coloured hair, and I don't know if the horns are removable. Overall, I just think that there are things that could have been done with this doll to make it a little more elevated. And there are plenty of collectors that wouldn't touch this doll with a 10-foot pole. But I might have, if there were some things that were just made a little bit more different, a little bit amped up, like having something different with the top half, maybe some painted details on the horns or the shoes, or even having a different, like, fabric for the wings. Like, why is it this iridescent kid's birthday party fabric? Like, no. Have it be, like, actual dragon wings printed on there. Even that would elevate this doll up for me. So we have the Royal Engagement Mal next. And I think this one's a gorgeous girly. I think she's really, really well executed. This is kind of a weird doll because she's very normal. Not much of a dragony element. Not much in terms of colour variation. It's almost like human prom gown, but I like it. I think they picked a really nice fabric that shines really nicely with the way they've constructed it. I think that the construction is pretty decent, especially for a doll released in this time period. The Descendants 3 dolls definitely had some quality issues in terms of the way that they were constructed, with the outfits maybe not being the best. But I think this Mal is very simple and very nice. I like the little shoulder details that harken back to some of those older Mal dolls. Having the shorter skirt and then the train out the back is a nice touch. It still feels a bit more youthful and fresh. It doesn't have that stuffiness of the Coronation doll. And we have the perfect size tiara, which is tiny, because that's all you need. Just the tiny tiara works perfectly, and I think that it works really nicely with this doll. So I will give her our flowers. She might not be the most interesting, she might not have the most exciting details, but she does what she does pretty damn well, and I will give her our flowers for that. So we have the Good to Be Bad 4-pack Mal, and I do not take any pleasure in putting this doll in Deserve Better, because I really like this doll. But the outfit is just so cheap looking! I will say, it is a better outfit than Evie got, because at least this outfit has a distinctive print, but it is the same print all over. Top and leggings. And at least they did paint her shoes. Like, we are going to give Evie no kinds of detail, and we are going to give Mal some detail. Like, the construction of the top, it flows out, and it has a little bit of a, not like a train, it's barely a train, but it protrudes a bit at the back nicely. But no hemming. You can tell it's the thinnest fabric on the planet. They did give her some little shoulder epaulettes. Again, thin fabric, not a hem in sight. And again, you do have that flat coloured hair that just, it has no dimension to it. It just feels very cheap looking. And that disappoints me because she does look like a really cute doll, but it's like, if she deserved better, she deserved better. And she did. Right, Giant Mal number 2! Yes! I love her! Do I think she's better than the number 2 one? I think I prefer this outfit. I'll put her above. I think they nailed this doll. Something about the Giant Descendants dolls, most of them, works really, really well to amplify the details and maybe fix some of the things that the other signature dolls didn't do properly. Like, you have the fabric arm guards, you have purple piping instead of the black pipings. It looks like the fabric for the vest is at least separate in terms of the manufacture of it. It might be sewn together, but at least it looks like they used different fabrics for the vest and the undertop. And her hair blend, I think, looks a little bit more fluid. Again, it's just fixing up those little things that weren't the best about those signature dolls, even though the signature Mal doll for D3 is pretty good, adding a little extra. And I think that they nailed it with this Mal. It is a shame I probably will never be able to get her. So, styling head Mal. As with the last video, I discovered the existence of the Evie styling head, and there is also a Mal styling head, and this one can also come to the party. I just think she's neat, okay? Very simple, but she's fit for purpose. I love her screening, I think the hair blend is nice. Don't know anything about the quality, still a thumbs up for me. Then our last 2 dolls. So we have the 2 royal wedding dolls. I'm going to start off with the reception doll, and this is the doll that's going in this tier, because I respect the audacity of this outfit. But sincerely, WTF indeed. The design of this outfit on its own is kind of a little bit weird because you have this, what's intended as a leather jacket on top of a dress. But because of the construction of the outfit, we don't see the dress. We don't see the top of the dress. We just see the skirt. And the skirt is ombre white to purple with a very choppy, uneven, jagged edge and a spare layer of tulle that Hasbro had lying around the factory. We have the return of the Descendants 1 dragon shoe mold, which I love, but it's in the flattest, most electric purple colour possible. Weird choice. And then the jacket. Dear Lord, the jacket.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I think this jacket is deliberately trying to emulate the Descendants 1 signature jacket. You even got that little triangle of fabric there that they generously decided to sew on instead of printing on. But they decided not to make it out of any kind of leathery material. They've had plenty of vinyl, leathery materials of all kinds. Like the Descendants 2 dolls were like 90% just that material. And then you obviously had Descendants 1 signature Mal with the mildewy top. And in this doll, they didn't even try and make it look like leather or pleather or vinyl or whatever. They decided to just print on like the jacket onto just a random fabric they had. And the print quality, it looks like it was running out of ink. You can so clearly see the streaks of like the fabric coming out. Like they didn't even print it properly. The details all come out very flat, which is a shame because this jacket has nice details. And then the hair blend, I don't know if it really goes that much with this doll. But the thing is, a doll with this weird of an execution, with this weirdly printed of a jacket, with the skirt being the way it is, with the shoes being like that. It is so weird, it is so out of pocket that I respect it. I respect the audacity. So that is why it is in this tier. And then our last doll is, of course, the bridal Mal. So I'm going to let her into the party because I think she does look nice. And I decided I am going to bump up the Royal Fashions Mal up to Gorgeous Girly. Because I think that this doll is nice. I have no passion towards this doll, if I'm honest. Like, she's nice. The bodice has some very awkward printing on it. It doesn't quite look right. It almost looks a little ill-fitting. You have this nice mesh on the shoulders and the neckline, but then it transitions into these arm cuffs. I don't know why that's there. The worst thing about this doll by a good country mile is the bouquet, which is a cardboard cutout. Apparently that is the standard for accessories these days at Hasbro. The bar is quite literally in hell. But there are things I like about this doll. I like the construction of the skirt, some really nice draping on there. I think the colour palette works really nicely. I think they picked the right shade of purple to complement the hair. I like the veil. I like the little plastic clip in there. That itself feels like its own little dainty tiara that is of the right size. There are enough elements that I like, but there are also enough elements that baffle me that I can't exactly muster up that much enthusiasm for this doll. Why is she wearing one singular fingerless glove on her wedding day? We will never know. So, that is all of the Mal dolls ranked, and I'm going to have a little look now and see if I change my mind on any of the rankings, because I do that sometimes. Do you know what? No. I think I did good. So as per usual, let me know what you think of this ranking and if you have any hot takes on any of these dolls. I think the evolution of Hasbro's Descendants dolls is very interesting because of the things they did with the hair and the changes that they did with like different styles, moving away from the very fixed kind of styles they had in the first film to something a little bit more general that kind of just works a little bit more seamlessly. And then obviously the changes in the outfit quality where you had some like neat details in the earlier dolls that were kind of like properly put on compared to a lot of the later dolls doing a lot of printed on stuff. That just fascinates me a lot. So if you have any thoughts on any of these dolls, if you think any of these dolls were undermarked or overmarked, feel free to let me know. If you would like to see another Descendants ranking with the rest of the Hasbro dolls, because I could just rank every other character in one list if I wanted to. So let me know if you want to see that video because I would love to make that video. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a like, and if you want to see more doll content from me, feel free to subscribe to the Olliverse Dolls YouTube channel. I have, just as of today, finished editing a new scripted video. By the time you see this video, it will have already come out. It is all about the 10th anniversary of Bratz and the surrounding era around that and kind of what the Bratz did in the early 2010s. It is up now on the channel, or it will be by the time you see this. So check that out. I worked very hard on that, honestly. I'm kind of relieved that I've got that all done now because it's been in my Apple Notes. Literally over a year I've had the notes for that video, so I'm just relieved to have been able to do it and to have it finished and up on the channel. Thank you for watching this video from me and the Pog. Have a wicked and rotten day. So I thought for this little end segment I would bring up some of my thoughts about the Uliana doll that I got. I think she's great. I think that her hair is gorgeous. Her face is divine. I love the sculpt, I love the screening, not a dot of pixelation. Where is this energy for Barbie, Mattel? You have some kind of cheap, scratchier fabrics, but overall, there's really nice construction on this outfit. This vest jacket is separate, you have some plastic accessory pieces, you have the little necklace. The shoes are a nice sculpt, they are a little bit plain though. But I think she's missing one thing. Actually, no, she's missing two things. This doll is missing two crucial things, and those things are Hook and Bogey. I know you don't want to make the boy dolls, Mattel, but do it for me! And do it for Uliana. You are a billion-dollar company and you can't even afford to make her minions? Come on, get it together, Mattel.